All right, so we are starting a very important section. This is we are looking at the principles that make up trigonometry. So how I see it is that for each of these functions, and that'll be mainly these three: sine, cosine, and tangent. We need to be able to visualize the way they move, or their structure, their graphs. Okay. And from the graphs, from the way that the graphs move, we can get a lot of value from this. So, for example, you meet a lot of calcs and solutions or simplifications that require you to, let's say, find sine zero, sine 0 degrees, what is it? You might find maybe they are saying cos 0 degrees, what is it? So normally, instead of just memorizing, I feel that if you can visualize how the cosine graph moves, it's easier for you to remember this. So we're going to start with the sine. This is the graph for sine. What are the important features? I feel that the most important feature is the origin. Okay. So at the origin, and then the next feature is at 90 degrees. Okay, these two for me are the most important values that you'll get when you're looking at the sine graph. Okay, so what are these values? So we're saying that sine 0, okay, sine 0, these are degrees, is equal to 0. You'll see that this graph is 0 when it's passing here. So this is a graph of sine theta. Okay, and then when it passes the origin, the value is 0. What is sine theta or sine 90? Sine 90 gives us what? We come here. This one is normally treated as 1. So sine 90 gives you what? It gives you 1. Okay. Those are the important ones. Now you can go and get maybe, for example, sine negative 90. What is it? We'll look at even and odd functions and all that. But these two are the most important ones when it comes to sine. Let's look at the one for cosine. Cosine is this one here. Okay. So for cosine, again, you look at the origin and you look at what it's doing at 90 degrees. So those two are the ones that we need to remember. So sine 0 gives us 1. Okay. What about sine 90? Because this is 90. Remember, this is the same here. This is 90. What about sine 90 or cos 90? Cos 90 is 0. This is the beginning and the end of understanding trigonometry. If you can know what sine 0 is, sine 90 is, cos 0 is, and cos 90 is, then you can build most of the aspects from just understanding these two. Okay. All right. So we had also talked about degrees and conversion to radians. So these are just showing. Sometimes you get graphs where they show you radians and not the degrees. Remember, the only thing that we need to remember is that pi is equal to 180 degrees, meaning that we can convert any of these to pi, and these are directly related, so directly proportional, meaning that any of these can be converted with cross multiplication to either radians or degrees and so on, so forth. So this is the graph of tan theta. Okay. So what is the main thing that we need to know? Remember, we said that tan 90, it gave us undefined. So now, if we're looking at 90, we'll say 90 is where? 90 is at 90. Okay. It will miss 180, it goes to 270. So these two are where we're going to find the undefined areas. So how do you represent this? You will see that this graph moves in between this here range, and then you'll see that it's not hitting the 90 mark. It's also not hitting the 270 here to go like that. If we do it here, again, we skip 190 and then go to 360 plus 90, which is 450. So 450 somewhere here, degrees, this will not touch that line. So this is how it is. So it shouldn't touch this. It shouldn't touch that. It shouldn't touch this. Why? Because it's undefined here. It's undefined there. It's undefined here. It's undefined here. It's rare that they'll ask you to draw this. Normally it's cosine, and sine that they'll ask you to work with. So again, the values that we need to know is that tan here will be 0. So tan 0 degrees, okay, tan 0 degrees is equal to 0. What is the value here? Tan 180, it will be 0. Okay. And we say tan 90, which is here, we see that that graph doesn't get there, so it's undefined. What about 360? It reaches here, so it's 0. What about 270? 270 here, we'll say that it's undefined because this doesn't touch the graph. So that's it about just introduction in terms of how you actually obtain these graphs, the values. So you should be able to know what sine theta, sine 0 is, easily know what sine 90 is, easily know what cos 90 is, cos 0 is, know what tan 0 is, know what tan 90 is. And then from these, you should be able to get quite a bit of the values. For example, you can get cosec, you can get secant, you can get cot, you can get quite a number of these just by knowing this. Okay, so this is the introduction to these preliminary values of the trigonometric graphs. Okay, so all the best as you study.